I keep hearing the number of occurrences of what makes premium selling work, but I only have so much buying power. Is it better to spread across a lot of small positions or concentrate into a fewer bigger ones? How do you think about that trade-off?
So I love this question because from my personal opinion, I think especially when you're first starting out and you have a smaller account, smaller positions, number of occurrences, that's how you get the probabilities to work out. I mean, we just had Dr. Jim on with all of those metrics, and those are just in theory. You need a number of occurrences in order to have these actual probabilities work out over time. I mean, you see that in the curve, you see that in all of it. I 100% think that if you're just starting off, don't go with the bigger ones. If the second you put a bigger trade on, that's the one you say this one's going to win, and the other ones, I'm putting more eggs in that basket. So smaller positions scattered across.
If I could make one critique to that, make sure that
Critique.
you're doing different factors though, right?
Oh
If
yeah,
I'm out here and I'm
Don't.
doing like short put spread and Avgo and Tesla and broad, and like all of a sudden
Yes.
it's just all the same stuff. Maybe 10 different trades. It's really just one trade.
That is true. You have to diversify by different ones. Pepper your infield by strategy.
Right. So maybe have it 3 or 4 different things. So those are your like 3 or 4 big ideas, but then with each one you have 3 or 4 different trades coming out of them. So you're not just all eggs in one basket inadvertently. And I've done that myself, by the way, where it's like, oh yeah, I have a lot of diversification here. Oh wait, no, I don't. It's all long deltas and tech stocks. It
It's
doesn't matter
all
that
the
it's
same
10
thing.
different positions.
That's a very good point, and something that I failed to say, because it is true. You want lots of different positions across lots of different things so that your numbers work out.
Right. Yeah. Diversify your factor exposure. Laura, let's go to the next one here. Finally. Okay. I heard that 21 days to expiration thing is 100 times. I don't get why. If a trade's winning, why not let it ride to expiration and collect the full credit? What's the actual reason to step in and manage at 21 days instead? This is right out of Julia's confirm and send.
It was, and I'm glad we got this question on there, and I kind of like the whole network kind of circling around and talking about things as a whole and answering these questions. So 21 days till expiration and Chris, you're going to jump in and talk about from your perspective too. But just as I've been trading forever, you enter at 45, you manage at 21. Now we've had a team of researchers research this until their faces came off, because at that 21 days till expiration, that's the 45 days, the theta curve starts to come down. And that's when your risk reward scenario can flip. And that's what happened in Julia's. So you can redeploy the capital at 21 days. Keep in mind, this is a loose guideline, but understand why you're using that 21-day mark. Chris brought up a great point, saying if I'm looking at a trend and I'm still there, maybe I'd let it go to 17 or 18. This is a loose guideline, but right here, when you are selling premium, and especially if it's neutral premium. Most of our stuff has been straddles and strangles. If you're selling neutral premium, you need time to pass and no movement. Take that, redeploy it, recenter it. The 21 days till expiration is there to protect you from, and protect me for, nothing I give as advice, to protect me from larger losses, as we saw in the conditional value at risk.
Right. I mean, the goal isn't to maximize every single dollar out of every single trade. It's to survive long enough and keep putting trades on so that through the cycles, the probabilities accumulate in your favor here. So I think you said this to me once years ago when I first met you in person. We were talking about this. You told me that the last nickel's usually the most expensive nickel. So take profit early.
It usually is. And it's just the wing and the prayer program there. So taking your profits early, and it's not yours until you close it, right? So if you're at 21 days or 50%, whichever comes first, then redeploy that capital.
We can do one more question. We'll kick another one out to last call. Laura, quickly before we end the show, Liz, why don't you take this one?
Okay, so I sell index put spreads, and I was loving the bigger credits when VIX was over 23 in June. Now it's back in the 16s, and I feel like I'm getting paid nothing for the same risk. Do I just sit on my hands until vol comes back, or is there a smarter way to keep selling premium when the tape calms down?
Yeah, I mean, don't overtrade. We never overtrade. And if what works in a 16 or 17 VIX environment is not the same strategy that works in a 24, 25 VIX environment. So it's not that you don't sell premium down here. You just have to change your structure and how you deploy your capital in this environment. So you may have been able to go a little bit tighter back then in a higher vol environment. Maybe you need to go a little bit wider now to capture the credit that makes the trade actually worth it. So I'm not going to say don't participate, but it's just change the way that you participate.
Very well said. I always say the volatility decides what strategy I'm going to put on, right?
There you have it. You don't want to force the round peg into the square hole. Let the market tell you what shape you need to be and then go find it out of your toolbox. You know what, Liz, though? We're going to have to cut it short there because confirm and send is done. Liz, you and I have served our time here today. We're getting back to a flat market. Maybe, just maybe, we'll take off that iron condor. for a trade back to 75.02 here in SPX. But Gus and Errol are coming up next. TP and I will be back in about 30 minutes. You're watching Tasty Live.
Have a good holiday, everybody.